For over a century, OUC has been the steadfast companion of Orlando's growth. Our dedication to the people of Orlando, our families, friends, business, and industries is not just who we are, it's who we've always been. As the city prospered, we met its challenges, guided it through difficult times, and fueled its continuous expansion. This commitment, born in 1923, shapes our legacy and solidifies us as the Orlando Utilities Commission, the bedrock of this thriving community.
Judge Cheney was part of the three-man team from Pennsylvania that started the Orlando Water Company in 1886, 6 years after the railroad. 1901, he built our first power plant, so water came before water. He was smart enough to know this was too much for he and his son to handle. So what did he do? He went to see Mayor Duckworth, 22, and said, "Mayor, we're glad to do your street lights. We love doing your fire hydrants, and we love doing your electricity and your water, but it's just growing too fast. Let's create, not the electric department of Orlando to compete with sewer, fire, and police. Let's do a commission." So who'd they go see? My old boss, Tom Gurney, and said, "Write it up."
His input and his drafting of the charter originally was the real beginning of who we are as a utility.
This citizen board helped us to really keep a pulse on the community and make sure that we were in line with the values of this community.
You don't necessarily see that with a larger utility that's spread over many communities. This is a very personal experience for people who live here and work here and serve their neighbors and their colleagues.
The first water supply for OUC came out of Lake Ivanhoe. There was piping installed in Orange Avenue and the areas down around Lake Ivanhoe, which was sort of the center part of the OUC service area at that time.
The Lake Ivanhoe plant was an old ice plant, right? And then we put in our first generator there. And remember, back in those days, the generation load was much smaller.
150 horsepower. Heck, I water ski between 150 horse and one motor. And here, the first power plant in Orlando was 150 horsepower.
As OUC fueled Orlando's growth from a mere 2,290 customers to over 13,000 by 1930, it didn't just power homes, but also hope during the Great Depression by generating 250 jobs. And as the world plunged into chaos during World War II, OUC took on a pivotal role constructing a new plan to energize the military base that would later become MCO.
So, all of a sudden, little sleepy Orlando with a little city airport becomes Orlando Air Base. And later it became the Navy base, and now it's one of our great subdivisions that we serve. They were customers then, so Orlando grew.
After the war, Orlando's population surged to 51,000. During this time, OUC was a step ahead, promoting electric homes and erecting the iconic Lake Eola Fountain in 1957.
We had a commission meeting. Mr. Allen's secretary called us and said that he would like to appear before the commission. He spoke to the commission by telling them, to begin with, that he and Stuart Johnson had been to Washington for a meeting of the United States Chamber of Commerce, had stayed in a beautiful hotel, and out front was a beautiful fountain, many colors. He says, "I think we ought to have one in Orlando. And since the Orlando Utilities Commission is in the water business, you should build a fountain."
In the late 1950s, OUC ushered in a new era by diversifying its resources. In 1957, we transitioned from surface water to well water, tapping into the lower Floridan aquifer. This pivotal shift was soon followed by another milestone in 1960, when we completed the Indian River Power Plant, strategically located with access to the Atlantic Ocean.
They were buying oil from Texas and Oklahoma by the train car, but that was expensive, the transportation to haul it. So we bought property on the Indian River and built our Indian River plant. We were then buying oil, not by the train car, we were buying it by the tanker. The cost per gallon of oil went way down.
In the 70s, Orlando underwent its most transformative decade. With Walt Disney introducing theme parks to the area, the city saw an unprecedented surge in tourism and growth.
A big part of Orlando's constant population growth over time has to do with the availability of land, because it started with farming, and then it got into military industry, and then tourism.
The city began to grow and began to change. OUC changed. We changed the way in which we provided water. We changed the way in which we provided and generated electricity. We tried to make decisions that would be good short-term decisions, but also good long-term decisions.
The 1970s were transformative. OUC responded to the energy crisis with a robust strategy, diversifying energy sources and making the first investment in zero-emission nuclear power in 1977.
The state was probably 98% dependent on foreign oil, and they went through the oil embargo of the mid-70s. We had Texas, Oklahoma, and a few others that produced oil, but we had to go to another source. We got the Nuclear Regulatory Commission to let us have part of 2 nuclear plants. So fuel switching was a critical element of our strategy for dealing with long-term power supply at reasonable cost for the long term, because you never know, it runs in cycles.
A new era began with the OUC's largest project to date, Curtis H. Stanton Energy Center, coming online in 1987.
OUC removed itself from oil and established a portfolio of natural gas, nuclear, and coal. And the first coal installation was the Stanton Energy Center. The diversity of fuels is the reason that we are the affordable one. We're able to dispatch the most economical fuel and optimize the pricing to our customers.
That was a major project for that period of time, and it certainly impacted the whole Central Florida area, not only for construction jobs and the development of that whole area. University and that area out there has just exploded.
The 90s were a time of rebirth and growth on the water side. Water Project 2000 saw old plants close, new ones opened, and the beginning of ozonation water treatment.
Before Water Project 2000, there was probably a dozen or more plants. The number of plants were reduced, which helped in terms of operations and control of the water plants.
We converted all of our plants from purely treatment with chlorine to treatment with a blend. So much less chlorine because you're ozonating the water, but it results in better tasting water.
As the new millennium began, OUC partnered with St. Cloud to significantly broaden our service area. This expansion coincided with the rebranding of OUC as the Reliable One.
We went through a multi-phased approach to find out what our brand would be. And first, we went to our customers. When you think of our name, what do you think of? And they, probably 98% was reliability.
Reliability was key, so every decision you make is, how is this going to impact reliability? That's always the first question. Yeah, you worry about how much it's going to cost, but does this better or worsen the reliability of our operation?
So we sat in a conference room and we just were throwing things out. Then all of a sudden we said, the Reliable One. And I remember somebody in the room said, wow, that would be pretty gutsy to say the Reliable One. And you know what? It was, but it really resonated because there was total alignment between what we were and what our customers thought we were. And that's why it has lasted as long as it has, because it is who OUC is, the Reliable One.
The Reliable One would be put to the test during the catastrophic hurricane season of 2004.
I think of Ken Kashanic when I think of the 3 hurricanes that came through here in 1 year and how quickly from each one we recovered.
The OUC basically had assisted a lot of other utilities prior to August, September of 2004. And that was good. It helped us understand the process. We had a hurricane preparedness plan. Hurricane Charlie was coming off the coastline, 5, 6 in the evening. It makes a right-hand turn up the I-4 directly into Orlando.
Charlie brought down 40 years of tree growth, the first storm that came through. Some of our facilities are outside, and they had to be operated even though the storm was coming. We had to go outside to deal with them.
What I did is I proceeded to get on the phone and made a concerted effort to contact others to say, listen, we need help. 80% of our customers are without power.
We always make it a priority, number one, to get the power back to our customer as fast as possible, but safely. Everybody played a part in actually getting the power restored and getting things back to normal as fast as possible.
In a hurricane situation, it's not so much a matter how good you are, it's a matter how tough you are. Everyone's different. We learn something new every time.
Anytime there's an issue, a disaster, the employees rally. But not only that, everybody look at it as lesson learned.
When Reliable Plaza was built, we showed that we're an icon of the city. We work with the businesses, we work with the community, and we're going to be here for a long time. One of the things that we had implemented as part of that building was that new IP telephony system that allowed employees to be mobile, if you will, from an office perspective, so they could take their telephone anywhere they wanted. It also supported the hurricane support process for our incident command center. It also was the underlying technology that we then used for COVID.
When the global COVID pandemic arrived in 2020, OUC was ready with the technological and financial foundations to offer unparalleled support to our community.
So hospitals use the same product that we use for ozonation, liquid oxygen. They use it for the ventilators. So suddenly the demand for liquid oxygen went skyrocketed from hospitals.
So we had a decision to make, and we chose to rally the community, ask the community to conserve on their water, to allow us to get through this moment of time. And we got through that 14-day period, and we never had to have boil water alerts. Everyone still was able to have the water that they needed. We were able to, as a community, make sure that the healthcare industry got the liquid oxygen as they needed, which was the most priority. And I'm proud of that. And I'm proud of our community for stepping in and taking that challenge and being responsible.
OUC's story is more than just a timeline of events. It's a living tradition of service, a beacon of innovation, a guardian of the environment, and the embodiment of a promise for a brighter future.
You think about 1923 when OUC became a commission, and you think about where we are today in 2023. An electron is still an electron, and a drop of water is still a drop of water, but the dependency that customers have today on our products has changed dramatically. We need to continue to be innovative, and we need to be a partner of choice because our customers do have choices today and more so in the future.
We're now at this most exciting point in the grid where not only are you working and continuing to deliver reliable electricity and clean, safe water, but we are now sort of moving our focus over to another 100 years of sustainability.
I can't think of a better partner than OUC as we've worked together towards a sustainable future for the city of Orlando.
By working together with the city and prioritizing relationships and joint initiatives, we're taking proactive steps to navigate the energy industry's upcoming revolution characterized by rapid innovation and complex challenges. This collaborative approach is essential for ushering in a cleaner, greener future for our region.
When I think about OUC in the last 100 years, obviously is an organization that was put together really to serve the customers, the citizens of Orlando.
I think what's so great about this organization is the legacy that's here in place and all the individuals that have come before me and before other leaders, and the pride in this organization. And so I think as active employees, we're always working hard to make sure that we live up to that legacy, and we feel that need to live up to it, but we keep advancing the organization.
From the sparkling waters of Lake Ivanhoe to Stanton Energy Center to the future of clean energy, OUC's journey has been a thrilling saga of growth, resilience, and unwavering dedication to the people of Orlando. Here's to the future, a future powered by OUC.